Hello. In this video, I will tell you a story about a man that was put in jail because his daughter-in-law told a lie that he had touched the grandchild's vagina, the girl's, of course. Alright, so my wife's uncle was in jail for a year for a false charge of touching a 5-year-old girl's vagina. The mother of the child lied. Then, after going to court so many times for a whole year, and the uncle would always say that he didn't do it, well, then the mother of this child repented to the family, not to the court, not to the judge. And she said she was going to commit suicide. So the uncle asked around, and he found out that he was just going to get deported back to Honduras. So he finally said, yes, I did touch the vagina. He said this because he didn't want the child to live without her mother in case she did commit suicide. And he was tired of being in a year in jail and nothing was coming, the case was not being closed. So finally he got deported about 2 years ago now. Now, I have a question here. If I get the mother of the child to tell the truth to the court, will she be arrested? Or since it has been 2 years, has enough time gone by where she won't be arrested? And yet, well, he's not even my uncle, but this uncle could get his name cleared up. It won't make a difference. He'll still stay in Honduras, but you see, what's happening is I am the only Christian in the family, I think. The only big mouth Christian, that is, the one that the one that actually talks. Everybody else, they keep their dirty laundry or they keep their secrets. Ooh, I goofed it there. Let's see. I'm the only Christian in the family. Nobody else gets involved. But what happened was I watched the TV show Branded. And I watched especially because my grandfather, when people are dead, like your grandfather, you start thinking about what they taught you. And he taught me about the human rights, which I didn't read until about 4 months ago. And he told me this 20 years ago. And he told me about the TV show Branded. And he told me about Jean Valjean and Victor Hugo's Les Miserables. In Jean Valjean, he just underlined the line that El robo es robo. Stealing is stealing. Even though he was a saint at the end of the book, he still had done a bad thing as a young man by stealing a piece of bread, even if it was in order to feed the children of his sister. Oh well, life is a mystery. It always reminds me of how some good people get, like I spoke with one guy that was a longshoreman in New York, and he did a couple of things. Well, he didn't admit to anything, but what he did say was that if you didn't do what you were told to do at work, then you would be found floating over there in the river or the ocean. I don't know what it is in New York, at the dock. And you would be found only because the mafia, whoever the people were there, they wanted to send a message to the other workers: obey, or that's where you'll end up. You know, it's very difficult to be like, I read the book this week, Hitler Youth, and it talked about how the German people were brainwashed into doing bad things. And that's why at the end of the war, the children were taught in schools, they were taught in the Western Germany, they were taught to think for themselves and to do the right thing, not to obey just because it's an order. And yet, I read another book, Character Building, by Booker T. Washington, and he said, obey a bad order instead of getting into the habit of being a disobedient person. But again, Booker T. Washington said this because the black people were coming out of slavery. And he may have said this as an old man, but he was also before Hitler, I think. So maybe now he would change his mind and say, be disobedient. Well, either way, I have chosen to be very disobedient. But now I'm more cautious, now that I'm old. Because, for instance, I had that yellow wagon over there, and I go pick up my daughter from school, and my mother said, carry her backpack. Or, if you don't carry her backpack, Daniel, I will Baker Act you, or I'll throw you in jail, or do something. Now, I know my mother can do this. And it's not that I don't want to carry my daughter's backpack. I love my daughter. The problem is, I want to homeschool my daughter so that she learns something useful. As Booker T. Washington said, I'm not going to teach you the name of some mountain in Africa. I will teach you to have useful hands, skilled hands, a carpenter or electrician. For my daughter, computer repair and artwork, website design, something. But she's wasting her time right now at school. But I do take instead of carrying it, what I do is I carry the yellow wagon, and my daughter pulls it. Then, of course, the spouse doesn't like that the yellow wagon hangs out in front of the front door. Because she says, I don't want it here. And I said, well, put it wherever you want it. And so she does. But then I put it back the next day because I got to go pick up my daughter again. Now, this is called passive-aggressive. I don't say I won't pick up my daughter or I won't carry her book bag. But I do make my daughter pull the wagon. When I get angry thoughts about my daughter, about my mother, about my this spouse, I focus my mind on the words, the mantra, thank you, thank you. And in Gandhi's words, in the end, we will part as friends. Now, sometimes I could go an hour saying thank you, thank you, thank you. Because people do irritate me. I'm talking about my mother. Right now she wanted me to take out the beans from the fridge. And so I did. I took out the beans from the fridge because she could drop them. Then she said to put the blender together. Because as intelligent as my mother is or was, all her life she says that she could not assemble the blender. Ooh, I can't do that. I'm a woman. I don't know. She's got some stupid, in my opinion, mental blocks. When you can't do something because you say, "Oh, I can't do it because I'm a woman." So you've seen the joke probably where it says, "Parents, put in Net Nanny software so that the kids don't go to porn sites." And so, and in the comic strip, the parent says, hello, 8-year-old son, could you please install this software program for me? And that is saying that the children know how to do something, and the parent that is supposed to know something does not. The kids know more about computers, that is. And that's fine. My kids probably know more. No, I still know more about computers than they do. Not by much, by a little bit. Alright, so sometimes I am disobedient because my mother, she says, when are you going to throw out the mop bucket, the water? She wants to mop, right? And I told her, you've got 2 kids now, 2 grandkids. Get them to do it. But she won't. She says, no. They just got home from school. Like I said, one of them is sleeping. The other one, probably sleeping. Or reading a book or something quiet like that. In fact, last night I spoke to the spouse and I said, look, in what house in all of these cities over here in Florida, how many of them have 2 kids, both of them listening to audiobooks at the same time? Now I did tell them both to lower the volume to use the headphones, but neither one of them did that, and neither one of them was complaining. They could somehow listen. Like one had the computer going and the other one had the Kindle going, and they both could listen in the same room, which to me that would I had a roommate once that she had her TV on and I had my TV on, and I turned mine off. I cannot do that. But for some reason these 2 could. Well, what ended up happening is they both ended up listening to one book for some reason. I don't know why my daughter stopped listening to hers. She went to listen to my son's, which she already had read. Alright, but how many families have a reading at home culture? Not many. Alright, be better than I am. Take care of yourself.